now that you're ready with your data properly set up, we can start working with text itself. So let's see what we can do with it. The first thing, and probably the easiest thing to do with text, is to figure out the sentiment of a piece of text. Sentiment means, is it saying something positive? Is it saying something negative? Is it going to inspire? Is it surprise or fear or something like that? And that's the idea in sentiment analysis. And it's not a simple subject, because if you look at our examples over here that I have, you can say something like, I had an excellent souffle at the restaurant Cavity Maker, right? So what this is saying, the word excellent souffle is telling us that I really like this. It's a very positive statement about the restaurant, because excellent souffle at that place. Excellent is a positive word, and it implies that we like the souffle and we like the restaurant. It's positive about both. But then there are certain cases, and English language being a funny language, there are certain cases where things are, not all languages I guess, where it's not always so clear. For example, if I had a statement that said, The Girl on the Train is an excellent book for a stuck-at-home snow day. Now that's a positive word, right? Because it says, The Girl on the Train is an excellent book for a stuck-at-home snow day. You're stuck at home, you can't go anywhere, there's like piles of snow outside, so what do? You curl up with the girl on the train, and that sounds like a good way to spend your time. So that's a positive statement. However, if I say The Girl on the Train is an excellent book for using as a liner for your cat's litter box. Now clearly, if this comes up in a review, then that it would indicate that the reviewer did not like The Girl on the Train, right? Because they want to use it for something where a book is not intended to be used for. Just to be clear, I actually enjoyed the book a lot, so it's not something that I would say the book is not nice. It's actually a great book, but this is an example, right? So this is anyone reading this would understand that the reviewer did not like the book, but for a computer to figure this out is going to be really hard, right? Because how does it know that liner for your cat's litter box is not the normal use for a book? It's not, it's a negative connotation for us, but for a computer program it's really hard. Then there's a third case here. The Girl on the Train is better than Gone Girl. Now these are two books, and we are saying this book is better than that. But you could have disliked the reviewer, for example, could have disliked Gone Girl a lot. Because I didn't really like the book at all. I hate Girl on the Train, but it's better than Gone Girl. It's not as bad as that, which is not necessarily a positive statement. All we can say is that this is, in the eyes of the viewer or the document, is better than this, but we can't say whether it's a good or bad or assign a more general sentiment to that. So when you're working with language, you have to bear these things in mind, that in general, the English language is not always clear as to whether something is being stated positively or negatively. And sometimes if you have a comparator, you should just use it only for comparison. So if we can say Girl on the Train is better than Gone Girl, but we can't really say anything independently about it. That said, that's a caveat we should keep in mind. But that said, a lot of text mining is done on technical or official documents, which are not going to be using sarcasm in this form, right? So they're not going to be saying stuff like this. So if for example you're reading analyst reports for stocks, they're unlikely to be saying things in this format. They're more likely to be very clearly saying that there's positive growth or growth is on target, or things like that. So it's with official documents or technical documents or documents that have content and are not fiction or not reviews or things like that. The odds are, not necessarily of course, analysts can be as ironic or sarcastic as anybody else. The odds are that your data is going to look pretty good. But the bottom line in all this is that sentiment analysis is a good starting point, but bear in mind that it's not always going to work very well. Sentiment analysis is usually done using a corpus of positive and negative words. So this is another tricky aspect of sentiment analysis. So out there on the internet, you're going to find lots of collections of words that are positive and negative, and you can use those. But of course, if you have a very well-defined domain that you're doing sentiment analysis in, you might be better off in constructing your own positive and negative words, because in your domain there may be a different set of words that are applicable. So that's the idea there, and there are several different sets of analysis. I've listed a few of them here. There are many, many more. There are these are just sets of positive and negative words. The Hugh and Liu sentiment analysis lexicon. There's the NRC emotion lexicon, which I've included actually in my data set that I'm giving you guys, but the lexicon itself is no longer available without permission from on the internet. So bear in mind that the use of this lexicon is solely for this class. If you want to use it for anything else, you should probably get permission for it. There is a Senti word list, which is a list of words weighted by positive and negative sentiment. And we're not going to use this one, but it says, like, for example, it says excellent is highly positive, so it has, like, say, a 0.7 rating, whereas is good is maybe 0.5 or 0.4, that kind of thing. So positive, negative words are just words, so there's no polarity attached to them. These ones have some polarity. And then there's a VADA sentiment tool, which has 7,800 words with positive or negative polarity. This comes a part of Python NLTK, so we have to download some things for it. We'll do that along the way. And the thing about VADA sentiment, which we're going to use here, again, not perhaps in the context it's meant to be used, but it's really been constructed using email and chats and informal text. So it contains things on emoticons, emojis, and those kind of things are also included in it. So it's really good if you're working with Twitter feeds or Facebook posts or things like that, and you want to do some sentiment analysis on those, then VADA sentiment actually works very well. Should work very well. Nothing is certain. For the most of our class, we're going to use these two examples. I've compiled a set of 15 reviews of 4 neighborhood restaurants, neighborhood being the Columbia University neighborhood. And these are just taken off from Yelp, so they're just like general reviews. I'm also going to use the Yelp API. So as a sort of side benefit, we're going to see how to use the Yelp API, which is kind of nice. And then we have the presidential and inaugural addresses, which is included in the corpus. And I've added, like we just did in the first video, we've added Obama and Trump, Obama 2013 and Trump 2017 to that corpus. And that's about it, really. So these 3 examples we're going to use, and that's going to be our focus for the rest of this week's session.